All right. So, good morning, everybody, and welcome to yoga. So, we're going to start seated. I'm just going to take off this outer long sleeve shirt to reveal an inner long sleeve shirt because it's chilly in here, even with the heat on. So, we're going to start class today by just sitting well and finding our bodies. We're just going to do some really nice warm up this morning. So sit in the way that makes sense for you. Feel free to sit up on a blanket or up on a block. You know all those already. And move the flesh out from the sit bones and maybe internally rotate those thighs, those upper thighs, right? And as we do so, when we internally rotate, so we basically take the outside flesh and roll it in toward the middle or to the inside flesh. It helps to open up the sit bones, the pelvis, so that maybe sitting cross-legged is more comfortable. And even if your legs are straight, you can do that internal rotation. We'll play with that a little bit. All right, then roll the shoulders back to the side body. Bring the head back into alignment into that imaginary wall that's behind you. Tone your belly. Start to find your breath. And as you breathe, just start to feel yourself settling down a little bit. Just feel yourself starting to draw down to your mat as if all the external world just goes into the fringes or starts to disappear a little bit. I always think of the external world or the surroundings as just starting to get fuzzy on the edges so that all of my energy, all my focus starts to come in toward the center of my mat and my body, my mind. And we find our breath here. Crown of the head reaches up as the tailbone reaches down. And again. And then start to relax your jaw a little bit. Start to loosen the space in the jaw muscles. Maybe take a little bit of space between your teeth. And then let the tip of your tongue rest on the roof of your mouth, but just behind your upper teeth. So it's hard for me to do it and speak at the same time. So you're just softening your jaw, letting your tongue rest at just behind your teeth, and you're breathing. So there's a softness to your breath. Breathe in and out. And then adding on here as you exhale, so everything's soft in the jaw, the tongue right behind the teeth. As you exhale, I want you to draw in Mula Bandha. So, Mula Bandha, drawing in the pelvic floor muscles, drawing them up as if you were sitting a little bit taller. You might feel that move into the belly a little bit, right? Into this Uddiyana Bandha, the belly bandha. But for now, I just want you to focus on drawing up through Mula Bandha or drawing up through the pelvic floor muscles on the exhale. So on the inhale, you relax. On the exhale, you draw in. Good. Three more right here. And then open the eyes, relax those muscles a little bit. Roll the shoulders. We're going to be visiting that a couple of different times today, right? So as we draw in through Mula Bandha, we one contain the energy, two, we don't let the pelvis or the pelvic floor muscles spill out in our standing poses. And we just help to contain the energy, tone the muscles, all that good stuff. Inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, right hand down, left arm over. Let's get some stretch in here this morning. And inhale up. Exhale, go the other way. Stretch out through that right side. Inhale, center. Good. Go back to the right hand down. Left arm. This time, press down through the left hip. Reach through the left side ribs. And just see if that left arm will go over your head. You're bending your elbow. Big stretch here. And then straighten the left arm. Inhale it up. Exhale, other side, your left hand down, the right arm up. Your elbow, your left elbow may or may not be on the floor. Don't force that. Try to keep the right hip down. And then reach through the right side ribs. Maybe bend the right arm and stretch it overhead. And reach the arm. Inhale, both arms up. Exhale, both hands down. Good. Roll out your shoulders. And then inhale, reach up. Good. Take cactus arms here. Twist everything to the right and hold. I'm too close to my wall. Take it center, twist to the left and center. Take it to the right. Center. Use your breath. Exhale as you twist. Inhale, center. Exhale, twist. That's it. Breathe. Keep going. Easy here. Watch your backs. That's it. Couple more. Just warming up through their whole spine. Last one. And center. Draw both elbows down to your waist. Really squeeze the back body and then inhale up. Exhale. Squeeze back body. Good. And up. Last one here. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. And reach up. And then let go of those arms. Good. Straighten the legs, everybody. We're good. So bend your right leg and step over your left leg so that the right knee points to the ceiling. Your left leg is grounded. Just wrap your arms around your leg. Feel the tailbone drop down. Feel the crown of the head draw up. Feel Mula Bandha, right pelvic floor muscles. Feel those start to draw up. And notice that as you do that, you might feel like you are a little taller as you draw up through those pelvic floor muscles. Good. And don't over squeeze, like don't overdo. Just feel that engagement of the pelvic floor muscles. Good. One, you're going to stay here in this leg configuration. Two, if your knees allow, I want you to bend your left leg and left knee and set it on the floor. Some options here is your left knee can go, a block can go underneath your knee, your blanket could go underneath your knee. But if you can, bend both knees so that one is down toward or on the floor, the other one is pointing up, and then go tall again, draw in through Mula Bandha again, right? Feel this big old stretch. And then inhale, reach the arms up. As you exhale, left hand around that right leg, right hand behind, going into a little bit deeper twist. One more time, just a simple attention to the pelvic floor muscles, just drawing them in as you feel this nice, sweet little stretch. And inhale up, exhale, release. Lean back, undo your legs, straighten them both out, bend your left foot or bend your left knee. Goodness gracious. Step it over, stay nice and tall, wrap your arms around, draw in through the pelvic floor muscles, and stay lifted. See how that feels. Everything else applies, right? By the way, that right leg is active. You're using the muscles. You're not hyperextending your knee. You might feel a nice little stretch through the left hip here. But just notice that. If you can, bend your right knee and let that knee come down toward the floor. Again, maybe a block under the knee or a blanket. Sometimes a blanket is like just enough of a rise of that knee, either folded once or twice, to give you that space that you need. Lift up really tall. Inhale the arms up. As you exhale, the right arm goes around the knee. The left hand goes behind, coming into a twist on this side. Find your breath. Breathe. Nice. And inhale, center. Exhale, release it. And lean back, undo your legs, shake them out, grab one of your blocks. So you're going to sit on your block at the lowest level. So just set the block behind you and then sit up on it. If for some reason one block just doesn't feel steady enough, set both blocks side by side. And then again, if you can, cross your legs, cross your knees, sit nice and tall. So you'll notice here that sitting up on a block, your pelvis has the opportunity to draw forward. And there's a difference between that anterior tilt or that tilt of the pelvis forward and a spill. Like this would be a spill. My belly's hanging out, everything's hanging out, right? It's just there's no attention, but it's also different than pulling back and being rounded. So find a little bit of an anterior pelvic tilt so that the sit bones are nice and strong on your block. And then I want you to squeeze the glutes and squeeze up through, again, the pelvic floor muscles, as if you could lift yourself off your block. And notice how this feels, right? It's hard to do glutes and pelvic floor at the same time. I just want you to see if you can draw up both sides. Release on your inhale. Exhale, draw up. You should feel yourself just lift up as we engage those hip or glute muscles. Inhale as you release. Exhale. Inhale, release. Exhale, squeeze. Inhale, release. One more. And exhale. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. And notice. And release it. Nice job, everybody. Take that block right back out. Set it aside. Take both legs straight. You're going to step your right foot over your left, right where we were before. So this time, if you can, again, bend your left knee and let that come to the floor. If you can't, go ahead and keep it straight or just slightly bent for your knees. So here, lift up really tall, and then I want you to lean toward your left. So that right leg is going to come across. So lean toward your left, come down onto your left elbow, and then straighten your left leg toward the front of your mat. So you have one foot on the floor, right foot on the floor, left leg straight. And just breathe. Once again, a little bit of Mula Bandha, both hips pointing forward. You're right on that side hip. Maybe you're getting a little stretch off the side. This is not where we're going to stay. Just breathe, maybe stretch through your left while we're here. This should feel kind of good. And then press back up. Bend your knees, come back where you were, and straighten both legs. Same thing, other side. Bend your left. This is just kind of preliminary work for what's next. Step your left foot over your right. Lift up really tall. Start to lean toward your right. Lower the elbow, right? Start to lower your knees. And take your right leg straight down toward the front of your mat. And breathe. And notice again how that feels. Maybe you're getting a stretch through the right side waist. Maybe you play with that a little bit, right? Lift and lowering, and just finding a general stretch. Good. Press it back up. Bend the knees and release. Back to the other side. Bend your left, step over. This time we're going to add on. So you're going to lean over toward your left, right? I think that's right. You're going to reverse, shake it out. Bend your left or bend your right knee, step over. There we go. That makes more sense. Your left leg straight. Lean over to your left. Straighten your left leg down toward the end of your mat. So here we are again, right? Same pose. First thing we're going to do is be on our left elbow. Squeeze in. I want you to push into your right foot, the one that's stepping on the floor. Engage your long left leg and press your hips off the floor. So you're on elbow, you're pressing down, elbow to shoulder, nice and aligned. Press into your hands, squeeze up, squeeze up, squeeze up through that underside. And here's the other key is your long left leg, don't let your left elbow or your left ankle collapse to the floor. Pretend you're stepping on the floor with that left foot and keep it strong. Take the arm up. Push into your right foot, everybody. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let that hand come back down to the floor. Release your hip. Press into your hands and release and let go. That's the other like disadvantage of Zoom is because I can't see you, I have to think of different ways to explain what may not be easy to understand. All right, so let's go the other side. Bend your left, step over. You're going to lean toward your right. Here we are again. Your left foot presses down. Your right leg goes along on your mat. The other thing I didn't say on the other side is you may have to walk that standing foot out a little bit for that nice knee alignment. So you're on your elbow, you're going to press in, fire up your long leg, lift your hip off the floor. Whew. Fire it up, fire it up, fire it up. Breathe, maybe lift the arm. If this is really hard, by the way, keep your hand on the floor, right? Check your long legs outer ankle. Don't let it collapse to the floor. Push your big toe side toward the side wall, right? So that we keep that leg active. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lower the hand, lower the hip. Come on up. Whew. Straighten your legs. And breathe. Right leg bends. Step over. Here we are again. Lean to your left. Your right foot stays on the floor. Your left leg gets long. All right, so a little different here. I want you to see if you can lift your left leg off the floor. What are we doing? We're strengthening that inner thigh, right? So your right foot, and by the way, again, hip wise, knee wise, you can be out here more. What you're looking, especially here, but what you really want is strength and stability in the standing leg. So wherever it is for you, and then pulse that underneath leg. Good. Try to keep the toes pointing straight forward, not up, so that we stay in the inner thigh. Breathe. That's it. 4, 3, 2, 1. Let go. Good. Listen up. You're either going to come back to this nice low side, boy, I'm drawing a blank, side plank, or you're going to keep your hip on the floor. Breathe, lift up, lengthen through your long legs foot so you're not dropped into your ankle. Breathe, lower down. Last choice here, press into your hand. Wrist issues, you want to stay on elbow. Press up again. There's your half plank, half side plank. So breathe. Press through your big toe mound. Press into your standing foot. Find your breath. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And slowly lower. Stretch out that side body. Good. Lower to your elbow if you were already there. And then just release. Shake it out. I wanted to do all this before we got it up to our feet. So step over, left leg over right. Find your breath. You're going to lean to your right. Take the right leg long to the edge of your mat. Flex your foot, flex your ankle. Check this knee, right? Check the alignment. You can move it a little bit one way or the other. And then you're just simply going to lift that underneath leg to work on your inner thigh. Just a little pulse here. Some of you might have to come down. I didn't think about that on the other side just to find some space. But it doesn't have to go high in order to be effective. If you hold it up high and just hold it, you're going to feel that leg, that inner thigh working for you. Good. Big deep breath. And then lower that down, flex the foot. You know what's next? Press into your standing foot. Lift your hip off the floor. Press through your long legs foot so you're not dropping your ankle, and reach up. So the idea is to pull that hip away from the floor. Both hips pointing forward. Breathe. 1, stay here. 2, lower down for a moment, press into hand. Some of you are going to find that easier unless your wrist is bothering you. Find it. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and carefully lower down and release those legs and take them center. Well done, everybody. Inhale, reach up. Exhale your hands to your heart. Slide your heels back. Open the legs to a nice wide Baddha Konasana. And breathe. And notice. Come back to Mula Bandha. Draw the pelvic floor muscles up. Feel that. 1, you're going to stay here or hands to your feet and just kind of enjoy this opening of the inner thighs. Everybody else, take your hands behind you slightly. Press into your hands and see if you can lift your hips off the floor so that they could sway forward and back. And then squeeze up through Mula Bandha. Press the soles of the feet together. Find your breath, working the upper body here. Lower it all down. Whew. Bring your knees together. Straighten your legs. Find your breath. Good. And then come on to table pose. So it's interesting. Upper body, yoga really works everything. And so from that aspect, we're very, very lucky. But to find safe and effective ways to work upper and lower body, right, is where sometimes those challenges can come in. So I want you to drop down to your elbows. Softly interlace your hands for now. Walk your knees back so that your knees are underneath your hips. Press your right leg back. Squeeze your belly in. Been here a number of times, right? Lift your right leg. So alternatives to balancing table. If you're on your hands and your wrists are chatty, you can either do soft fists or you come down to your elbows and you reconsider what we can do here. Separate your hands so that you're more in a sphinx pose from an upper body standpoint. The challenge is not to overlift the leg because then you just dump into your low back. With that leg lifted, walk your left hand out, squeeze your belly, lift your left hand off the floor, and then take that same left arm back behind you. And breathe. So your right leg's lifted, your left arm is reaching back toward your foot, Your belly is squeezed, your hips are pretty level here. Breathe, notice, and then notice what happens if you draw in through the pelvic floor muscles, just a little. Good, release that left arm, take it back down to the floor, release your right leg, maybe stretch back for a moment, child's pose or puppy stretch. And come on back up. Lower down to your elbows. And keep the arms separated. In these kinds of poses, right? How do you engage through the shoulders? We broaden through the shoulders. We squeeze in through the elbows. We find that. What happens if you press the hands isometrically away from each other versus in toward each other? How does that feel? Press your left leg back. Lift the leg, squeeze the belly. Find your breath. Notice, right? Tone in through the belly, tone in through the pelvic floor muscles, right? That feels completely different. Walk the right hand out. Lift that hand optionally. Take the arm back optionally. Press strongly into your left hand, your left forearm. Keep the shoulders nice and wide. Keep the hips pretty level here so that one isn't high, one isn't low. Breathe. You got it, you got it, you got it. We're almost there. And release the arm. Release the leg. Keep your knees and your hips lined up. Walk the hands forward and just drop into a little puppy stretch here. Nice. Come on back up. Table pose. Walk your or step your right foot forward. If you don't have your blocks nearby, grab your blocks. Take one hand under each block. Tone the belly. I know you've heard that from me so many times. That should be like, you should hear it before I ever say it, right? It's like, there she goes again. Tone the belly. Flip your toes under, lift your knee. Hold right here. Your hands are on your blocks, but I want you to go light. Like, you should be able to lift one hand and the other hand and not lose the stability of your pose at all. Widen the shoulders, squeeze the belly, and then just tap and lift your left knee 5 times. Down and up. Yep, down. Don't forget your breath. And down, reach up, down, yep, up, last one. Down we go, and up, hold. Now, fire up that left leg. Feel the left back thigh lift up toward the ceiling. Start to straighten your front leg. Notice the leg, the foot, the knee, everything lining up. Did something drop, right? Did the ankle drop? Did the knee drop? How is your body here? If you want, you can take your blocks up higher. That could be a pretty sweet little opening here. For those of you hamstrings, you know who you are. Please be mindful here, maybe a little bend in the front knee, okay? But otherwise, we're feeling the stretch of the hamstring. We're opening up the torso forward. Draw in through Mula Bandha and yet feel the sit bone kind of lift up and back a little bit. Big deep breath. And then bend both knees, lower that knee to the floor. Release your back foot, release the top of your back foot. Get really tall in your pose. Good. When you're ready, I want you to switch. So you can simply switch or just pass through a little half downward facing dog. Your left foot is forward. You can lower your right knee to get your alignment. Your hands are on your blocks. Feel yourself light on your blocks. Flip your toes under, lift your knee. Fire up the right leg, right? Don't let it sink down to the floor. Draw that left hip back a little bit. Feel that nice strong pose and then lower and tap knee, maybe 5 times. When you do that, press into that standing foot, right? Lift. We got two more. And lift. Last one, hold. And then feel your belly tone in. Feel the Mula Bandha. Feel the pelvic floor muscles draw in as your left leg straightens. And then once again, look at your own left leg. Does it look aligned? Is anything collapsing inward or outward? Your foot, your ankle, your knee. Draw the shoulders away. Find your breath. Really lengthen here. As you draw in through the pelvic floor muscles, we start to feel a lengthening of the hamstring. It's really interesting. That's it. And then bend your front knee, lower your left or your right knee, undo your toes. Inhale, reach up, stretch it all out, and release. Hands come to your blocks. Lift your right knee, walk your blocks and you center so that you're in a wide leg forward fold. And then let yourself settle down. Maybe your elbows come to your blocks. Feel the legs, right? Feel the ankles. Try to find that center line without hyperextending your knees. Don't let the knees pop back. Find the center of your feet. Find your breath. And then take your hands back to your blocks. Turn your toes out. Bend your knees, one hand to one knee, one hand to the other knee, and come on up to standing. So again, pretend that we're sitting on the block. So the first thing I want you to do is engage Mula Bandha and engage your glutes as if you were squeezing and lifting up away from the floor. Hold that little bit of a bandha, right? That little bit of energy through the pelvic floor muscles and bend your knees. So there's some discussion in the yoga world about standing poses, any of them. Here's one, right? Where we can just kind of drop or spill our energy, our muscles, right? Down when we do this. So instead, I want you to press into your feet, take a nice inhale, and then exhale, draw up through Mula Bandha and feel how that maybe stabilizes this whole area, right? I feel that from my feet through my pelvis into my core. So notice that. Try to keep some attention there. Inhale, straighten the arms, straighten the legs. Exhale, goddess pose. Good. Inhale up. Exhale down. Inhale it up. Exhale down. Two more. Reach up and down. Good. And up. Down, hold right here. Take your hands to your thighs. Roll the shoulders back. Bring up those pelvic floor muscles. Lift one heel. We've done this a few different times as we strengthen quad, calf, right? Ooh, just breathe. Just breathe. If this is painful, especially for the foot, lower the heel. No big deal. We're working with that energy, that pelvic floor engagement as we strengthen the legs. Lower that heel, lift your other heel. Hold, don't let the knees fall to the center. Draw up that earth energy, right? Every time you think about it, draw up and hold. We know that the pelvic bowl, right? The pelvic floor muscles create a bowl. So I just want you to think about lifting that bowl up a little bit. Lower that heel, bend deep into your pose, and then stand up and feel those babies. Turn your toes forward, lean forward, grab a hold of your blocks, walk yourself back over to the left, turn all your toes back to the left. Widen your stance so that you're in a nice solid lunge and hold. Straighten your front leg. Here we are again. All these are variations of pyramid pose. Soften but widen the shoulders. Lift your front foot, the front ball mound of your foot off the floor. Just hold. Your blocks are there to help you lengthen, but they're not there to you do all your support. So keep the hands light and instead take that support through the core. Good. So that front foot, I want you to tap toes and lift heel. Tap down and lift, tap and lift. You got it. Tap down, lift. One more. Tap down and lift. And then tap those toes down. Make sure your back foot is straight if you can for you. Otherwise, it's slightly dropped. Bend your front knee. Squeeze in through Mula Bandha and Uddiyana Bandha, right? Belly lock. Really squeeze it in. Start to round your spine like you're going to go into a cat pose. Start to get lighter and lighter on your blocks. Take your arms through center and all the way up. Big deep breath. You got it. Breathe. Do the same thing on the way back down. I want you to curl in. Take your hands to your blocks. Walk yourself back to the center. Turn your toes out. Bend your knees. Squeeze your belly. Lift your torso. Inhale up. Exhale down. Inhale it up. Exhale down. Good. Take it up. Exhale down. Two more. Reach up and down. Woo. And last one. Reach up. Reach down. Hold. Hands come to your thighs. Roll your shoulders back. Lift one or both heels. If you're lifting one at a time, hold one. Breathe. And then switch. If you're doing one at a time, squeeze your belly, draw up through Mula Bandha. That's it. Lower both heels. Stand all the way up. Turn your toes forward. Hands come to your blocks. And then you're going to walk yourself all the way around to the right. Remember again, so make sure your pose is wide enough. Squeeze your belly. Find your breath. Straighten your front leg. Notice. Lift your front foot, right? The front ball mound of that foot. Feel the stretch, one through the back of your calf and Achilles, but also the engagement of the front leg. Use your breath here. And then tap and lift. Good. Tap, really lift to your level and down. This is 3 and 4. Whew. And 5. Good. Plant that foot. Bend your front knee. Here we are again. High lunge. You can always lower your knee. You know that. Squeeze in through your belly. Squeeze in through your pelvic floor. I want you to start to get lighter on your blocks. Fire up your legs. Come into a cat-ish pose and squeeze up through center. Find your breath. Stretching through these lovely legs, finding all that motion. Big deep breath. And then reverse the same way. Curl in to lower down. Walk your hands to center. Turn your toes out. Hands to knees and come on up. Good. Roll it out, everybody. Shake it out. And then come on back down. Take your hands to your blocks. Your toes are slightly angled, and you'll know for you, you'll know for your ankle, knee, hip alignment, how much they should be straight or turned out. So just turn your right foot out a little bit and bend your right knee. I'm sorry, I'm mirroring here. So for you, bend your right and just feel the stretch. And then notice your long left leg. First of all, try to plant the pinky toe. of that leg. Sit back in your hips. So you're not leaning forward, you're not leaning way back, you're leaning into the hips. And then just come to the edge of your big toe mound on your right foot. So you're just moving that foot to line up with the rest of your leg and hold. Maybe you dig deeper into the right side, a little deeper into your lunge. And then plant your right or your left foot again. Straighten both legs. Turn your left foot out a little bit, bend that knee. So here we are to start, right? Just a side lunge, stretching that inner thigh. Feel your legs, sit back in your pose, and then turn your right foot onto the big toe edge, but don't let the ankle drop into the floor. That's it. You got it. Breathe. And then lower that edge again. Come back to center, turn your toes back to forward, and then walk yourself all the way back to your left. Set your blocks aside. Step back, downward facing dog. Feel Mula Bandha right here. Lower your knees. Lower your elbows, interlace your hands. Lift your knees, come into low plank or elbow plank. You can do low plank, right? Knees to the floor. Don't let the hips drop. Press into your elbows. Find your breath. That's it. 5, 4, 3. Push into your elbows. 2, 1. Lower your knees. Lower your belly. And just relax all the way down. Maybe bend one knee and then the other and stretch it out. Whew. And while you're on your belly, press down through your pubic bone and give your glutes a nice strong squeeze, really strong. Maybe you lift your feet off the floor a little bit. Just squeeze. Maybe you lift your knees off the floor just a little. Breathe. Big squeeze. Now draw in Mula Bandha, right? Draw in Uddiyana Bandha, the belly bond. Breathe. And lower it all down. Shake it out. Turn to your left side. And breathe. Just bend both knees. You're on your elbow. If this hurts for any reason, go ahead and lower down so that you are not straining anything in your shoulders. But then draw in through that whole underside, draw it in. And just lift your top leg off your bottom. Push into your bottom leg as you lift your top. And feel that. Squeeze in through here. Don't drop into your belly, right? Or drop into your lower back. Keep everything drawn in here. Straighten your top leg. Keep your bottom one pressing down. Turn the toes of your top leg toward you. And feel the work that this leg has to do just to be suspended in space. Notice, notice, notice. What's happening to the upper body? Did you start to really collapse? Can you press back in? Can you breathe? Bend your top knee, your top knee. Step it over. Here we are again. Straighten your bottom leg. Lift up and squeeze. Take the arm up if you want. Final choice here, right? Don't collapse your ankle, by the way. I just noticed mine was resting on the floor. Take your top arm, wrap it under, and take it up. Good. Down and under. 2 and 3. That's it. Push into your standing foot. 4 and 5. Squeeze it and up. Whew, and lower. If you can, come up to your hand and stretch that side body. That should feel good. Whew. Good. Lower down. It should feel good, right? No guarantee. Take that right leg, straighten it out, lay back down, bend your knees. I'm just going to turn over so I'm not facing the back and roll over so that you are on your right side. If you can, you're coming up on elbow. If not, you're down low. Your knees are bent. Good. So this whole thing, right, is just about not letting the constriction or the congestion of these traps, these upper traps and levator muscles. So you really want to push in and get long without collapsing. All right, so here we are. Remember, you can be down on your side. Lift your top leg. Press down through your bottom leg. Draw in the pelvic floor muscles. Just feel that, right? So a lot of us can kind of sustain here for a while as we start to feel the legs, the hips, everything starting to work. If you're not feeling it, change the leg a little bit. Maybe it's too far forward. Maybe you need to come back a little bit. Just see if you can find the work, no strain, and then straighten your top leg and just hold it here. Tone the belly. Draw in the pelvic floor muscles. The toes are pointing straight toward me or straight in front of you. Breathe. Yep. Hip work, glute work, right? All that happening. Shoulder work because we're trying to stay lifted here. Big deep breath. And then bend your top knee, step it over. Lengthen your bottom leg. Here we are again. Press into your forearm. Lift up your hip. Check your long ankle there. Make sure you're not dropping and resting on the external ankle. Reach the arm up. Push into your standing foot. Breathe. It's as if you could push your big toe mound away from you on that long leg. And then optionally again, 5 of these. Wrap it under and lift it up. Wrap under and up. Yep. Wrap under. 2 more. Down, up. Last one. Squeeze and up. Hand to the floor, hip to the floor. Maybe you come off the elbow and stretch your whole side body. This is a nice stretch. I like it. Oh, that's it. And then from where you are, just push yourself all the way up and come to an easy pose. Find your breath. Roll your shoulders, right? Anytime we're on, I find being on elbow and forearm much harder on my shoulders than being on my hand. So you just want to make sure that if we're doing that specific work, that you keep everything nice and loose, loosey goosey. All right. So from here, if you can, and by the way, sitting up on a block for this really can be helpful, but not necessary. So if you're comfortable sitting upright, I want you to take one leg down in front of you so that for example, I've got my left leg down and in front of me. Have a block by you, by the way. And when I look at my left hip, my left knee is just barely to the outside of that hip. Flex the left foot. Take the right foot on top of the left knee so that you are creating a triangle. If you look straight down, you have a little triangle pose with your legs. The block, you see the space here? You know, earlier one of you were talking about you realize how much flexibility you've lost. I used to be able to sit in, this is fire log pose, with both legs stacked without even thinking about it. And now there's space here. So what do we do with that space? right? We set a block there. And then I'm going to lift my hips so that I feel pretty even on both sit bones. Flex both feet. Another option is your blanket under here. If you don't have neither one, just use your hand, right? You can use your hand to create a little bit of a stability there. But a block is really nice because then I can maybe relax a little bit. So fire log pose called that because one shin is stacked right on top of the other shin, um, and like they're stacked fire logs. If this is not happening, right? If this is not in your wheelhouse today or ever, all I want you to do is separate the legs any amount, almost to the point where you might be cross-legged again. So when we go from this cross-legged position, the closer in those knees come to each other, the more you're going to get into the hips. So just a little explanation there. Find your breath. Inhale the arms up. Exhale to cactus. Breathe. Open those arms up. Bring the elbows together. Squeeze hands and wrists and elbows together. That's it. And release those arms. Shake them out. We're coming out of this pose. So notice which leg is on top, right? For me, it's my right leg. I'm going to take the block out and I'm just going to lean back, straighten both legs. Whew. Flex your legs and flex your thigh muscles, right? Really feel them engage and then release. So this time, my right leg is going to go down. I'm going to see if I can get somewhere toward hip to knee, but my shin is more parallel with the long edge of my mat. Going to take my left leg, stack it on top, lift my hips. You can see the difference here, right? Don't really need a block on this side. Both feet are flexed. Whew. But there's some good sensation here, right? That again, that hip flexibility, all the tight muscles or muscles that aren't used to this. There is a difference, as I've talked so many times about sensation versus pain. I have a fair amount of sensation in these hips, but it is not pain. I can stay here for a pretty long time here. And as I breathe and exhale and draw Mula Bandha, right? That sensation starts to change. Took a class one time, actually, it was a yin training, and it said that that sensation should change, not necessarily get easier, but in most cases, easier. But it should change. Like you shouldn't feel an intensity all the time. So we draw the breath in, we relax the muscles, and we just see, can I maintain? Can I not maintain? Right? Inhale, arms up. Exhale, cactus pose. Draw elbows, wrists, hands together. Breathe. And then lower, separate the elbows until the wrists are together. They're not separate. Stretch through those wrists. Keep the legs active, everybody. And release those hands. Lean back. Ooh, undo the legs. Shake them out. I know, I know, I know. Tricky work. Stretch it out. Lay on your, we're going to do it this way. If you have a blanket or a pillow, you can use that. Otherwise, I want you to grab one of your blocks and you're going to lay on the side of your block. If this is excruciating, don't do it. And then you're going to come down on your elbow. So my left side is on my block. My right leg straightens and my left leg straightens. And then I'm going to scissor them so that my right foot is in front of my left. Notice that, right? You can stack too. If you're used to side plank, you can stack. But this is a little bit easier version. So my feet are scissored. I'm on my elbow, I'm on my block, which might not give some of you a whole lot of space. And I just want you to lift off your block. If you can, set your block aside. If not, keep the block there as your little training wheel to land on. Breathe, push into your forearm, everybody. Find your breath, squeeze through the pelvic floor muscles, press into your feet. Woo. Hand to the floor, lower your hips either to your block or to the floor. Turn yourself around or turn over. Same thing. Lay on your block to start. Straighten the legs. This time it's your top leg that goes forward. Find that. Squeeze in. Press into your forearm. When and if you're ready, see if you can lift those hips off your block. Take the block out. Create that tension. Flex your feet. Breathe. Lift the arm. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and lower. If you lowered onto your block, take the block out and breathe. Last one here. I promise. I'm going to give you a couple of options. We're going to do side plank on our hand. It is a challenging pose. We're going to do 2 ways. If you want to stay off your wrists, go back to your elbow, okay? Your choice. All right, so from table pose, squeeze in, step back to plank. You got it. So here's your first option. Both of your hands are on the floor. I want you to step your right foot forward and out to the side. Walk your left hand in a little. Turn to your left foot, left pinky side foot. And here we are, side plank on your hand with a little training wheel here, right? That you can work with. Second choice. One, stay there, or you're in plank. Left hand walks in, scissor the legs, and take the arm up. So I'm on my left hand, my top leg is scissored forward. Breathe. You got it, you got it, you got it. Lower that hand, straighten out the feet. Same thing, other side. Either you're going to step your left foot forward, turn to your side and lift, or you're going to turn both feet to the side, flex your ankles, lift your arm, squeeze in. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and lower. Good. Lower your knees. Come down to your bellies. Pause here. Shake out your hips. I know. Breathe. Maybe bend one knee. Bring that heel to your glute. If you have the range of motion, maybe you grab your foot, squeeze it in. Big deep breath, everyone. And let go of that side. Bend your other leg, either just squeeze it in, maybe point your toes, right? Or reach back with your hand and stretch that out. Release. Come up to your elbows. Lengthen your tailbone, squeeze the belly in. Come to Sphinx pose. Just breathe. Maybe a little bit of Mula Bandha here. How does that feel to move in that way? And notice, right? Hopefully there's no strain in your back, right? All that hip work, all that leg work, bit of shoulder work, right? We're just feeling good. We're feeling limber. We're opening up. And then tuck your chin to your chest and lift it up as if you were sniffing a wonderful flower. Exhale. Inhale, lift. One more. Drop your chin. And inhale, lift. And then level out your neck, your head, your chin. Lift your chest. Maybe press into your hands. See if you can take elbows off the floor. No pain, remember. Exhale, lower all the way down. And turn on to one side. And then turn on to your back. Keep your knees bent for now. Your feet are on the floor. Bring the feet, the knees together, and just let your left knee go out to the side. So your right knee's pointing up, your left knee is down to the side. Just breathe. Bring your right knee to your chest. Take it up to the ceiling. Draw your shoulders to the floor. Open the arms in cactus pose. Squeeze your belly and slowly lower your right leg all the way to the floor, out to the side of your hip. So it's sailing over your left leg and out to the left. Maybe your hand reaches your toe, maybe not. Maybe it reaches your thigh. Big deep breath. If you got a hold of that top leg, release it. I want you to bend the knee first and then lift it up. Set that foot back on the floor and bring your left knee back up. I'm going to turn around just so I have the room. So getting ready to do the other side. Your left knee stays up, your right leg just drops, knee bend out to the side. You're just hanging out here. Shoulders are comfortable, body is comfortable. You're coming back to your center. The edges, right, are all getting fuzzy again as we draw ourselves back in. And then leaving your right knee down and out to the side, your arms go to cactus pose. Squeeze the belly in, bring your left knee to your chest, raise that leg up to the ceiling. And then very slowly lower that leg out to the side and down across your right. Again, maybe fingers touch toes, maybe not. Just breathe, stretching all that workout. You got it. And if you've got a hold of some part of that leg, let it go. Bend your knee. Lift it up, lift, 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 lift. Set it back down on the floor. Let both knees go out to the side. Supine Baddha Konasana. Make sure your back is nice and long. Whole upper body just so softly plastered to the floor, right? There's no resistance, no strain, no struggle. On your inhale, you're relaxing. On the exhale, Mula Bandha. Inhale, relax. Exhale, Mula Bandha. Good. 3 more. Inhale. Exhale, drawing the muscles in. 2 more. Last one. Relax all those muscles. Bring those knees back to center, stretching one leg out and the other leg out, and coming into your Shavasana. And as you draw into your Shavasana, let your entire body surrender to the floor. No resistance, no holding, just surrender. Find your breath. And let a soft and happy smile find its way into every nook and cranny of your body, your mind, your heart. As thoughts or tension drift in, allow them to drift out. Pay no mind. Is there anything left that you can leave on your yoga mat, which amazingly transfers that to the earth to be dealt with? For those of you who would like to stay in Shavasana, please do so. The longer to a point, the better for Shavasana. Those of you who are ready, start to wiggle your toes and your fingers. Drawing the breath deeper as you bring your knees to your chest. Rocking side to side, curling over to fetal pose. And ever so slowly pressing all the way back up to your seated pose.